Y'all know what it is. Schmidt, Hakeem Green, channel live and direct. Y'all have no idea what I just went through getting here to set this show off on time, 7 o'clock. It's very important that we start on time each and every Thursday over here at IZM Sports. Yeah, I'm fucking around right now. Let me get it right. What up, Wes?
What's going on, Hot?
Let me add Spliffy Spliff to the conversation.
What's up? What's up, fellas?
Oh, man.
Chilling, Wes. What's good, babe?
Not much, man.
Yeah, man. So, you know, when you called me 15 minutes ago, Wes, I was stuck in traffic on 595 coming from Publix. So it's amazing I got here on time. I had to set up the studio. It's a little process, getting the backdrop together, just getting everything plugged in, the audio stuff, setting the show up. But I'm glad, you know, 7 o'clock, we right on time. I know you got to go. So we're going to do the regular schedule. I'm going to put up a song. Let's invite everybody to the building, and let's talk about NBA playoffs 2021.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
There we go. Cool.
Stuff is really
Hey, yo, what is a cipher? Hey, yo, what is a cipher?
What's a short?
What's called a cipher?
Yo, it's called the cipher.
What is a cipher?
The cipher is a circle with all points connected. Where you get your boogie off and the weak get disrespected. The cipher is so sacred, takes place on hollow ground. B-boys seek to battle on a mission to follow sound. Beatbox DJ banging on the table is the way we settle beef since the days of Cain and Abel. Ask Pop Master Fable, the jams at DMC, with DJs battle for world supremacy. The cipher's not always round, but always on the square. Breakers be on the ground, but I'm gonna put the weed in the air. The cipher's like the wheels of steel and scratching makes me itch. I get hyper with the lyrical skills when the DJ catch my pitch. When the fader's being switched, everything live in the mix, but still off the cut like I wear it on my wrist.
What is a cipher? What is a cipher? The cipher, the cryptic writer, the mind igniter. I'm a rhymer designer, a line after line of rhymer. See, I'm an 80s rhymer, the crazy kinda you can't phase me rhymer. I write raw shit like I'm writing no baby diapers. I blaze these ciphers with basic shit. Savage, I'm one that killed for 8 type shit. Hit after hit, all classics, spit in the grit. You talk that hickory dick, you getting lickety split. This what you get, you ain't taking nothing from me. The goat that steps to KRS is the goat that's getting curried. Brain matter, I'm the original face slapper. It's been so many years, you must have forgot we used to chase rappers. Now I'm bust on these nappy-headed hoes, I must. You ain't bad boy, talk big, get your eye popped. That fake shit's not us, you know how fresh Chris is. Career killer, I write death sentences. Hey, yo, what is a cipher? Hey, yo, what is a cipher? What is a cipher? What is a cipher? What is a cipher?
Time is of the essence, every breath another second. I'm down by martial law, fighting through the game like Tekken. I ain't be got no weapon when I camel walk like Johnny. Ringing bells when I rock the mic is poison like I'm Ronnie. Bob and weave through the dish and pull off in a new edition. Rapping is fundamental, whack MCs be steady riffing. I just stay in my lane when I'm on a scout like Kiffin. Look for volunteers when there's a drought, I'm in the kitchen. Cooking up some special treats, not talking trout when I'm fishing. I cruise through a hunt with heavy clout when I'm on a mission. I'm special with the verse, every line in education. While y'all wrestle with the verse, I rhyme in meditation. Standing on one leg, balanced on a lotus, but still packed an eye for judgmental niggas who ain't the SCOTUS. You can roll with this when you done past the lighter. Rhymes going counterclockwise around the cipher.
What is a cipher? What is a cipher? What is a cipher? What is a cipher?
Yeah, that was The Cipher by Hakeem Green,
featuring KRS-One, produced by Ron Amin-Ra Lawrence. We just shot the video last week in New York, in New Jersey. Big shout out to Naughty by Nature. Of course, KG, Ven Rock, who showed up for the video. Lords of the Underground, Do It All Kelly, Grandmaster Caz, Pop Master Favorite. Lots of legends in that video we shot over the past weekend. So there it is. That was the cipher. But this is Madison.
Dope track, you know.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Yes,
Excellent.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That song was birthed out of a conversation between me and your old friend Wes, John Ahsoka. I called him up and I was like, yeah, John Ahsoka.
Okay.
I called John up and I was like, camel walk, Johnny, camel walk. And we started, laughing as an old joke, Hollywood Shuffle. Everybody know what that is. We used to joke with Johnny all the time. Camel walk, Johnny. So I was like, y'all laughingly, I said, jokingly, I was like, yo, bro, I'm going to mess around and do a song to that. No, you not. I said, watch, I'm going to do a song to it. Watch. And then it's Thomas of the Essence, Every Breath, Another Second. I'm down by martial law, fighting through the game like Tekken. And I ain't even got no weapon when I camel walk like Johnny. I ain't even got no weapon when I camel walk like Johnny. Yeah, you know what I mean? What up, Tasha? What up, Rob? What up, Cuz? What up, Will? Yeah, man. But all right, so we got the NBA 2021 playoffs to talk about. And a lot has happened in the last week. Wes is going to come back. Cliff. KG also popped in, so I expect to see him in a few seconds, few minutes. But yeah, man. Man, dude, a lot has happened in the last week in these playoffs, bro. Some upsets, I guess. Atlanta's just been spanking jokers around. Did the Knicks dirty. Went to Philly. Spanked Philly around. Now in Milwaukee, got Milwaukee like, whoa, what's going on? You know what I mean?
The young and the restless.
Yeah, but then we gotta talk about the Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets. That was, man. So I mean, where do we start, gentlemen? Where y'all want to start?
Let's talk about what ended. Let's talk about the last series, Philly and Atlanta, and then obviously the Clippers and it finished off Utah, and then obviously we got the last series was the Brooklyn Nets and Milwaukee.
Yeah,
we got three to talk about right away. The ending, and then we get into the beginning.
Okay, all right. So let's do I guess Milwaukee Brooklyn first. What up, K?
What up, KG?
What's going on?
Yeah, man. Okay. Good. You say lots happened in the last week. 2 weeks for UK. Lots going on. The Brooklyn Nets is no longer in the playoffs.
Out of there.
They out of there. Now it suffered some injuries. Kyrie, James Harden with the hamstring.
I warned y'all.
Yeah, you did. You said anything could happen. You said don't sleep on Milwaukee. You said that.
Yeah. And I just felt like kind of sort of for some reason I felt like them the same thing with Miami when they got together, that a little bit of the karma or whatever it may be, or whatever the chemistry of them getting together, just something would just not allow them to make it work the first year. And then they'll make it happen and work everything out and get the kinks out. And then their second year and maybe third year win it, or maybe fourth year as well. Who knows? But I didn't see it. I didn't see them just jumping together this year. Some basketball guys, for some reason, just wasn't letting that happen, man.
Well, they are formidable, and unfortunately, the injuries is what really derailed them. But like you said, Kay, for years to come, they're gonna definitely be in the mix and take a couple of chips at least, no doubt.
Well, I mean, and also too, you got to see, because I just saw some reports that the Nets are tired of Kyrie with his antics and may be looking at possible options of trading him this year. So
what? Wow,
I
didn't
don't know
hear
how
that.
true it is. I don't know how true it is.
I think
You
they're
know
gonna
what
at
I'm
least give that a run. They got to at least try to run that team back to see what they have, because
But do you?
again,
But do you?
I think so. You get
Man,
that close, and
James
you
Harden,
didn't.
James Harden, KD, and I mean, come on, you got James Harden, KD, a serviceable two, and you support that bench in that front court.
Well, they got a bunch of veterans that might be looking for money. Who knows? They might lose a couple of those guys. I know Spencer Dinwiddie said he's out.
Yeah, he's out. I
Really?
saw that too.
So I mean, who knows, man? You don't know. I mean,
I just don't think you break up that three before they ever get started, because again, that collection.
I would. It shows you right now too. Oh, look at it right now. It shows you that you're gonna need all three of them, because just in case one goes down for whatever reason, you still got two, bona fide superstars to still carry you through.
But in all fairness, too, James Harden wasn't really healthy. They didn't play with a healthy James Harden, so it was really two of them was down, not just one.
But think about it, Hawk. Though, think about this whole playoffs. Like everybody that the ones that we all thought would probably do anything or do any damage all suffered some kind of injury to their team, and that's why they got bounced. So injuries are part of the game, man.
Yeah. So you don't think returning to the regular schedule next season and start in October, enough rest in between that, you don't think that's going to factor in? People are going next season healthier, rested, not as much stress on the body. We just came out of the pandemic, COVID lockdown. That was a trip, and to start the season right away, play all those back-to-back games, trying to fit 75 games into a shortened, I think that it's interesting. I didn't know that about Kyrie, K. But
like I said, I don't know how true it is. I don't know how true it is. I just saw some little links on the internet today.
And KD, I just think it's somebody who's like, he's going to really look at what's best for him. He's going to look at what's best for him. And however he feels, I have the feeling that's the way the Nets are going to go. Absolutely.
And I mean, they wouldn't be wrong for going that route. I mean, what I can say is the point you did point on, like LeBron was saying, a lot of people was just like, oh, he's just saying that and making excuses. But I mean, I think he has a point with it, that the way that with the pandemic and everything, the way it went down, I think it did attribute to a lot of these injuries and all of that stuff, because it's just like, it was a lot of back-to-backs, a lot of games being played right on top of each other. And we all know, from playing sports and trying to do that, man, like, of course, obviously we are now older, but even when you're younger, man, like that's a stress on your body, man, to be going out there every day on top of practicing and all that, man. It's a lot.
See, I think I look at the injury part as LeBron got injured because he stepped on somebody ran into his leg, right? But LeBron was conditioned to make it through the season. If he had a freak accident, Kyrie was conditioned to make it through. He had a freak accident. James Harden and Anthony Davis injuries, to me, that's about the individual, because they're not preparing in the offseason to be ready for the season. And when James Harden ain't going to work when the season is over, he comes to training camp think he want to leave the whatever club at night and come right on the court, no stretching like we did when we was in high school. That's how James Harden wants to live. I mean, look at his body. Look at his body this year compared to last year. Last year he was in shape. This year he looked like he just ate everything in sight and hadn't lifted a weight in months.
He just rolled out of bed.
But to do that and be so effective,
this tells you that
to put up 40 points on Joker is like rolling out the club.
That's in the regular season, and then in the postseason, look what happens. Those injuries could catch up to you because your body's not ready, and that goes to the commitment about him really wanting to be a champion. He got to do championship type things to be a champion.
Yeah, but all things considered, it was the shortest off season, in the history of sports. And you have to look at the fact that James Harden wasn't going into last year, caring too much about being a Houston Rocket. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but
So,
that's part of. But he wants to be a winner, right? So
Yeah.
he's in control. He can control that part of his professionalism, having his body ready. LeBron had his body ready. I mean, regardless of that, that's his job. That's his livelihood. So take care of yourself so you can be ready for whatever comes your way. Now, I don't say he shouldn't have left the Rockets. Yeah, he should have left, but he should have been prepared to leave. That's all my only point. So, you know, I don't like LeBron has a semi point, but LeBron's injury was definitely a freak of nature.
But Wes, going back to the Brooklyn Nets, like what do you feel about, you know, them in terms of what they did
They
in the
got to
playoffs
run it
against
back.
the Bucks?
They have to run it back. They need to stay together one more year at least. Everybody needs to be evaluated from the coaching staff all the way through to the players, and they need to run it back one more time. But they all need to commit to something. You know, they need to sit down together and have a real heart to heart with each other about what they're gonna be committed to next year.
Wes, just to touch on your point real quick though, because they said the I guess strategies for Harden to get out of town was to come in fat and out of shape. You know what I'm saying? So that may be a hard part of his whole game plan, the whole thing, you know? Because don't get it twisted. He did, you know? He looked like he literally rolled out of summer camp and just said, you know, let's see if we can do something.
He should have put on a fat suit though, and then put on a fat suit, man.
But those groin injuries and those hamstring injuries, James Harden pulled his hamstring 45 seconds into the game. That just tells you what his night was before.
But Wes, going to your point about coaching and looking at that Milwaukee series and how they utilized Kevin Durant, do you think that there could have been other, you know, coaching maneuvers you think they could have rested him a little more?
Absolutely. I think that Mike D'Antoni had his hands in on that whole thing. Steve Nash is a new coach. He trusted D'Antoni in a lot of ways, in terms of, especially with the rotation. You saw how Mike D'Antoni ran my boy Kobe Bean into the ground. That's what Mike D'Antoni does. He'll play 4 people if he could. He would just take a 5th guy out and sit him on the bench. But the thing about that, like, they had DeAndre Jordan was in the same camp as Montrezl Harrell. I don't care what anybody says. You got to play the guy for a little while, just to give people a blow, no matter who it is on the front court, whatever it is. You got to let him play. And I still think he gave up on all the guards too early too. He only played Landry Shamet. You got to give guys a little burn, because the second best player was Joe Harris.
Yeah, and he
went to bed.
Fizzled down the stretch. Man.
Yeah.
But also too, that's to go back to the injury side of it. Guys, we got to remember too, the injuries did play a lot to it, because think about this: injury definitely derailed Denver. You know, with Murray being out.
Yeah.
With Murray being out, we can't forget that. You know, we also got to remember that down the stretch, they made it, but Bradley Beal had a hamstring injury. That hobbled him throughout the play.
They were good. It goes both ways.
Yeah, and then you got to think about Jaylen Brown was out for the Celtics. Kimber was hobbled, you know, within the Celtics.
Got hurt.
And then Kawhi's hurt now. And then also Mike Conley was out for Utah. It was like, you know, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not totally saying that it was the short off season. I'm saying that it could have played a big part, because knowing how the body has to recover and you need time to do it. But also, you know, I can also hear, you know, it coming already now, that out of whoever wins this championship, a lot of people are gonna not asterisk, like put an asterisk on it, but they're gonna kind of say, yeah, but such and such was hurt, that's why you won that. Such and such was hurt, that's why you won that.
Listen, they can put asterisk on it if they want to. It's a championship, right? No matter. That's right. All it is. Period.
Everybody has the same circumstances. That's right.
Right, because people will definitely quickly tell you if Brooklyn had all 3, they would have beat Miami. They will quickly say that.
Well, KD being on Brooklyn along with James Harden, Kyrie, injuries played a factor. This is all those things that go into, you know, winning a championship. You know, him making the move to Brooklyn, it was kind of like we all thought it was just going to be a shoe-in. Like you said, Kay, like I told you, anything could happen. him being on the East, when LeBron was there, it was, all the, East is a cakewalk. Oh, the East is no competition. I mean, aside from the injuries, fellas, do you think that,
Kevin Durant,
thank you. Kevin Durant, did he make the right move to go to the East? Do you think it got easier for him? Do you think, realistically, when you see what Atlanta's doing, and of course Milwaukee, is it easier on the East?
No,
I don't think it matters, honestly, with a player like KD. It don't matter, to be honest, whether he's in the West or the East. It's just like, if he gets a pretty good supporting cast around him, his team is going to be okay.
Look what KD did without those two dudes. That's all you need to know. It doesn't matter. I mean, that guy, if he just had his toe back a millimeter, they're in the finals. It's that simple by himself. Because James Harden was half a man at that point. So KD on the court has really no explaining to do. I mean, they took their lumps. They had to go home. I mean, it's just really that simple. Him and Giannis, the game was great. I mean, they all left it right on the floor. Like I was explaining to somebody the other day about the difference between a Ben Simmons and say a Drew Holiday and even a Trae Young. When you look at their last 3 games, right? They all played game 7s, right? And Trae Young was 5 for 23. Drew Holiday was 5 for 21, and Ben Simmons. Okay, so he chose. I don't have a stat line, right? He was 0 for 0, right?
It might not exist. That's why.
My point being is that in Trae Young and Drew Holiday, I was saying I just want Drew Holiday to make a shot, and it's when he made his shots at the end in that fourth quarter that mattered. But he was always engaged into the game. He didn't quit. Like he just played hard. So did Trae Young. Trae Young was picking his spots. He was just off. I mean, he had a bad game 7 in terms of the first 44 minutes, but that last 4 minutes, he had a great game. So it was just
he only had a bad shooting night. It was bad, but he was making the plays though. I was really impressed with that. Yeah, I was definitely impressed. Yeah,
he was still engaged. That's what I'm trying to say. He was still engaged.
Gotta stay engaged.
Yeah, he stayed engaged. And that was the problem that I had with Ben Simmons, because people were still trying to say, well, look at him on defense. He was picking up cheap fouls because he knew he was garbage on offense. He wasn't engaged in the game. He was mentally done.
Yeah, he had deer in the headlight looks all game. And it's a shame because when he plays defense and when he spreads the ball around and when he legitimately controls the offense, he's tough to handle. He doesn't need to shoot 20 times a game, but like you said, the engagement. If you stay engaged, you definitely providing your team support on both ends of the court, something that he just was completely out of it. And
then once again too as well, let's just quickly go back about the injury side of it. Danny Green injured out, and then you had Embiid out there hobbled. Injuries played a part of Philly as well.
Yeah,
and even if you look at it
the same thing is just like, man, to be honest, man, like I think we just caught in the moment because it's now. But injuries always plays a part with every year. Because let's go back to the bubble. Miami, you had Bam out basically, and you had Dragic out, and the Lakers was playing them without him. So it's just like injuries always play a part of something.
Let's get real historic on it. Magic Johnson and Byron Scott didn't play in the finals. They got swept. Detroit swept them, and Magic Johnson and Byron Scott didn't play. They didn't play in the series. I mean, really, Magic played a half, and Byron didn't play at all. And that's 50 points or 45 points in your backcourt. You had David Rivers and Tony Campbell playing in the backcourt.
Yeah,
wow. It's been like that forever. That's not the excuse. Is real. That's what happens. That's part of the game.
Especially when you plan all of those games, all the way leading up to it.
Yeah,
leading up to it in a short amount of time with short time off. Yeah, I mean, and then you're also talking about a COVID year too. The conditioning, the training camp, all these things they didn't have. So, this is definitely one of those years where, it's an outlier, but I don't think it should be an asterisk next to the championship.
No,
because again, all of them have gone through the same things.
Yep.
And it's just a matter of who's stepping up the most. But you will take notice the teams that are doing the best right now are the healthiest teams.
Well, can we agree though, this basketball in general, these last like 5 nights we've been watching ball have probably been the best 5 nights of my NBA life in the last like 10 years.
And wow, it has been. It really has been. To be honest, man. A lot of people will try to be like, "Oh, nobody wants to see Phoenix versus this person or Utah versus this in the finals." Come on, man. Like these games are very competitive and exciting.
The mid-range game is back.
Cats are accepting the challenges. They're bringing it. They're not backing down. There's not no blowouts. It's not like somebody down 18 playing front runners. It's just everybody bringing the heat every possession.
The mid-range game is back, y'all.
Oh yeah, you look at the catalyst like Trey Young.
Speaking of what you said, mid-range game, huh?
The mid-range game is back.
Man, Devin Booker mid-range is ridiculous, man.
Devin Booker
and even
Chris Paul,
like even
Trey Young.
Trey got that floater though. He don't put up the number really too much. It's a floater, but but Paul George's mid-range is crazy.
Drew Holiday,
Kawhi.
In terms of that,
Middleton. I mean,
Middleton, yeah. And even let's even talk about when you saying engage, Wes. Look at Paul George last night. Like it was last day before. Mm-hmm. He was like whatever, shooting until he got down to the stretch. And then he scored 9 straight points.
He scored 9 of 13 points. The last 13, he scored 9 of them.
But up until then, he was breaking. He was breaking all game. Got back to it again when he missed those 2 key free throws, but
that could be fatigue, though. I watching that game, you see how fatigued Paul George looked. Like even shooting those free throws. And again, I actually heard a stat that Paul George went to the free throw line 100 times this year to shoot 2 free throws. Yeah, he only missed both of them 1 time, and that was some random game in February. Again, he's an 86% career free throw shooter. That was all about fatigue. And again, what you guys said, staying engaged. He stayed engaged. He was off the early part of probably the whole 3 quarters. He was off, but down the stretch, he knew where he had to do, and he definitely closed it out. But again, his legs.
He didn't close it out.
Well, he didn't close up on the free throw line. But he closed out as far as
but it all equals to an L.
Oh, I know.
Right. So it's not how many you score, it's when you score.
When you score. Yeah.
It's when you score them.
I think he had fatigue, Cliff, but I also think that those are the 2 biggest free throws of his career.
Yeah.
And fatigue is one thing, but those are tough free throws. That's just what they are. It's not easy. There's a lot of people that don't want to go to the free throw line in the 4th quarter with under 30 seconds in the game.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
A lot of cats don't want that. They don't want that heat.
That stench of that game, man, is gonna follow Paul George, man. Especially, if Phoenix ends up winning this series, that stench is gonna, because it's just like you said, man, like that doesn't happen, man. And people already was getting on him about the whole pandemic P and him calling himself playoff P. And to be honest,
shrinks.
Right now, Paul George he's been balling without Kawhi. He's been winning a while when he was there. I was just like that. Paul George doing his thing, man. Like people got to give it to him. Mm-hmm. And that's it's unfortunate, man. Like those 2 free throws, man. And that stench, like I said, man, that's gonna be that cloud following him if they.
I got 2 words for you about that after those free throws. Nick Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not that he'll never be. Nick Anderson was more of a role player, but he was never the same after that.
Refresh my memory, Wes, please.
Orlando got swept. They were up by 1. Same scenario in game 1, and Nick Anderson missed two huge free throws at the end. But I think he ended up missing. Actually, he missed 4 of 6 down the stretch. But they were all in that 4th quarter. and you know the two big ones at the end, and he just never was the same player after that.
Well,
And Orlando got
wait. Speaking of not the same player and stench, Ben Simmons, fellas, what's Ben Simmons?
Well, what first of all, you heard that today. I guess
Golden State's interested.
Well, they actually released a statement saying that they were not going to move him. Chris Paul met with management, and they basically, you know, just had a long. Rich Paul met with management and basically said that the word on the street is they decided to keep him. But you know, Rich Paul also, you know, that's LeBron's boy, and they're talking about possibly him going to either LA or Golden State because they're looking for capital. They want a shooter for him.
It don't make no sense for him to be in LA. Like not with LeBron. It don't make sense. They're basically the same player, kind of, sort of. LeBron's just a better scorer and shooter, but they're the same kind of players. So that doesn't make sense. You can't put them two on the floor at the same time. You unless he's out there strictly for defense.
Well, their rationale was the fact of having a veteran like LeBron basically take him under his wing, feed him some confidence, and basically show him how to, you know.
But shouldn't that be happening anyway? Rich Paul's his agent. That's LeBron's boy. So basically, LeBron's his agent. Shouldn't that been happening already?
Yeah, but the word on the street is that the cat is just lazy. The cat he's a mama's boy. He all his camp is in his ear, basically feeding him and telling him everything he wants to hear, and he doesn't work on his game. That's the word on the street. And
well, that's obvious. It's obvious because
I don't understand how you can have this much talent, be playing on the largest scale, and you don't commit yourself. Once you see LeBron and what he did, like you have to commit your life to you're making hundreds of millions of dollars, gentlemen. Why wouldn't you?
Man, that's crazy. Like, come on, man. You making, like you said, you're a pro, man. You're making millions of dollars, man. You're in the NBA, man. Like, you're supposed to be able to shoot better than that, man.
But think about Ben Simmons and look at Ben Simmons and look at Devin Booker, right? They came in the league around the same time, maybe a year apart. And Devin Booker has earned his clout right now. He earned it, right? He's worked hard. He's worked on his game. He's elevated his game. And guess what? Look at him right now. Ben Simmons was given his crown, not earning anything, entitlement. And now he's been humbled he was on straight, like that was just like being in the middle of the party. They put the lights on and you ain't got no pants on. Everybody saw it. Like, it was just bad. He couldn't hide from that. That was just horrible that we had to sit there and watch a grown man on the basketball court. Everybody that played basketball is like, I don't even know how you don't shoot the rock in basketball.
How do you know?
How do you spin baseline and not just yam that? Like what in the world?
On Trae Young, right? Trae Young standing right there.
Look up and dunk. It's
poster, bro.
Look up, dunk, y'all win the game.
The only way and the only reason that happens is if you totally have no confidence.
He wasn't even looking at the basket, man. He wasn't looking at the basket.
For some guys that would be like, you know what, he's not even looking to shoot. So you don't even got to really stick him. Like, I'm going to help off because he ain't even looking at the rim. You know, but those are not pros. Those are just pickup guys you're in the park playing with, and probably guys that don't even play basketball, that you probably sticking a guy that don't normally play basketball. So you know he ain't looking to shoot. So you like, I'll just help this guy over here. But you don't expect that in the NBA where you just like, man, I ain't even got to stick him.
Yeah, even that guy you explaining that doesn't want to shoot, if he got loose right there at the layup line, he gonna shoot that one.
And he might shoot it under the rim or hard off the backboard.
It was horrible, man. I can't really say I feel bad for him because I always felt about his personality. I always felt like he seemed like that type of dude that wasn't working hard and was, and you look at that draft class, him and Marquez Fultz, whatever it is. Markel
Fultz.
Markel Fultz. They won 22 games between the two of them. And they were the number 1 and 2 pick. Neither one of them were in the NCAA tournament, and they won 22 games. One won 8 games, and the other one won 14. and they were 14-17 LSU that year. So it tells you a lot right there. Even if you're not paying attention, you see right there, they don't even know. He doesn't even know how to win right now. Ben Simmons.
And the crazy thing, even with that, man, I'm just like thinking about it with Ben Simmons, man. It's just, I don't know, man.
It hurts
Like
your stomach.
they were saying that maybe, you know, the expectations were high, which it was. Like a lot of people, they put a bunch of stuff on Ben Simmons, like, oh, he's the next LeBron, he's supposed to be this. And then I saw even Shannon Sharp say today, maybe, you know, the expectations should be, maybe Ben Simmons should be maybe he should be work on it. Maybe he's just a player like a Draymond Green that does the dirty work, gets you assists and gets you rebound and plays good defense. But even with Sat saying that, Draymond still can shoot.
Yeah, but here's the thing
Draymond ain't gonna lose no confidence ever.
Right.
And he will make those free throws. And if you leave Draymond open for a three, few of them he will make.
That was Draymond and Ben Simmons are totally not the same person, let alone the same player.
Same person.
Like
Dennis Rodman wasn't a shooter, right? But what Dennis Rodman was, he could finish around the basket.
Mm-hmm.
He can get fouled. You know, he might not make all his free throws, but he was engaged. That's it. He wasn't scared. He wasn't an offensive threat, but he wasn't scared. So it's a big difference.
No, well, I think.
Yeah, but they also real quick, Hot.
Mm-hmm.
West, they also would never put the ball in Dennis Rodman's hands either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Ben Simmons is controlling your offense with the ball. So Rodman was strictly out there to run the triangle, pick, rebound, and play defense. Rarely, if you gave him the ball, it was only for him to, you know, put his butt out and pick somebody and pass it to one of the other guys. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
the thing about Ben Simmons is that we have seen Ben Simmons score the ball. So he can do it. But if you're not prepared, you lack confidence. You shrink because you know in the back of your mind, you're not prepared for the moment. He can, I think, having a mentor like a LeBron, whether it's LeBron or one of the older players, to really help him along, could do a lot for him. But you know, the hype surrounding him, it was too blown out of proportion. It's unfortunate that he didn't get the time to really, you know, develop. You know, he got kind of thrown in the mix. Mm-hmm. But I think the lack of preparation is the nail in the coffin for him. I think he focuses and prepares, he'll come along.
So, fellas, where do y'all think he goes? What do you think happens?
I think he stays right there in Philadelphia.
I think he stays, man.
I'm talking about Philly cats and people in Philly and the media and all these people who know. Philly ain't gonna have that cat, yo. They are not going to, because from what I'm hearing, particularly from, you know, people from Philly, they're saying they've been going through this for, you know, too long with Ben, yo. I mean, like, you know, there's people are going to be on his head. You know what I mean? I mean, it's serious. So I just don't see that cat. You know how Philly is, yo. You know how it is.
Well, how do you, and then on top of that, especially to even back up your point, Cliff, you know, the Philly fans are looking at it like, and y'all had a chance to trade this guy for Harden.
You know for Harden. Yeah, they're not going to, I mean, Philly's sitting right now waiting for the finals to begin if they made that trade. Because they're sweeping everybody. I mean, you know, they're sweeping everybody.
Good point right there, Chuck, Coach Keegan. Who paying $30 million for somebody who don't shoot?
Nobody is.
They can give me $10.
It's gonna be hard to
lose
him, man.
shot. They can pay me $10.
The only way is if Ben, like you said, commits and works on his game, and he goes to a team that's loaded with shooters, where he don't have to shoot, where all he got to do is play defense and kick the ball around to loaded shooters. That's the only way it's gonna really work.
Shout out to my boy Craig. He says Simmons should play ball in Siberia.
You know what I heard today? Since we on this Philly and Atlanta thing, and they will talk about Trae Young and the Luka thing again, right? And I was laughing because when Luka was doing what he was doing last year, this year, you know, Luka was everything. Now in Atlanta, even before Atlanta got to this far, this year people were like, Atlanta doesn't have no talent. You know, there's Trae Young just running around shooting all the time. Now they're saying Trae got more help than Luka. See, the narrative always changes when people get bumped out of there, right? Luka was up 2-0. Luka was up 3-2. Luka didn't close it. That's the bottom line. With the same cast of characters, he didn't close it.
He didn't close it.
I'm just wondering, like, how do you figure that though? Trae makes his players look better, you know.
He gives up the ball.
Exactly, man. So I mean, what? I mean, it ain't Luka's out there with a squad. You got Porzingis, the unicorns with you.
You got the unicorn.
You got the unicorn. You got, you know, I mean, you got Tim Hardaway. You got Finney Smith. You got ballers out there with you, man. Knock
All
it
right,
off.
so you know, because I'm having this debate on Facebook, this deep debate on Facebook. Luka, not really Luka versus Trae, because I think they're, even though they're point guards, they're not the same player.
They're not the same.
They're not the same. You know, Luka is 6'10", and if you say HAKIM, who you got, I'm probably gonna always pick the 6'10" dude over the 6'1", the 6 foot guy, right?
That's 6'10", but
huh?
He ain't 6'10".
What? He's like 6'9", 6'8"? What is
nah, Luka probably about 6'6", 6'7".
No,
He ain't no 6'8".
Nah, he's like 6'8". He's like a little closer. He's up there. Anyway, the point is the way they play on their teams. However, Atlanta, the chemistry, there's a flow, there's a rhythm around Trae, where Luka's just. I mean, he got ball handles. But the way, the rhythm, the chemistry around him is not as solidified as Trae.
No, you know what though, Hawk? I mean, you're right, but that was the knock on Trae, because last year and the years before that, Trae was playing how Luka's playing, just solo ball, just going to the basket, and when he get in trouble, he'll try to pass it and it'll turn into a turnover, and it was just nasty play. Now he's trusting his teammates. He got shooters, so he's looking better now. And Luka's still doing the same thing that Trae was doing years ago, just solo balling and just doing whatever. But he got teammates sitting to the side waiting for him to kick it. He's just not getting it.
Yeah. Now, is this a Nate McMillan thing?
Absolutely. Yeah, Nate McMillan needs his flowers, because what he's done, it speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, the truth is, Hawk, I mean, Trae does have more help. Trae has a squad with him. You know what I'm saying? And people are recognizing now that, you know, Atlanta is to be taken serious. One stat I did hear today about John Collins. You know, he's been balling, but he's in the category of 3. I heard today a stat that there's only been 2 other players in NBA history in a year that's had 60 dunks and 63s, and that's John Collins. Wow. And that's Anthony Davis and Sean Marion. Only 2 other cats. So again, Trae has some talent with him, and he has some balling and playing their position to the utmost extent. But again, if you look at that,
hold on, Cliff, because prior to Nate McMillan, was Atlanta even going to the playoffs?
Atlanta was sliding. That's why the coach got fired.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. So now if that stays the same, we're not even looking at the talent on Atlanta to judge them critically or what have you. Nate McMillan comes in and gets them to gel as a team, gets them to perform as a team. And Trae Young, because he's so proficient at that floater, getting to the rim, now opens up alley-oops for Joe. You can't stop this dude. Like he's got help, but it's who's stirring the soup.
It's a person
stirring it and who's driving the car.
I can't say this too. It took a minute for Trae and Clint Capella to get that chemistry, because remember, Clint Capella got traded there, so it took a minute for them to understand each other. And then you got them young boys that's starting to come up and starting to, understand the game. The herders, out there, Bogdanovich, and then you got what's the other dude? He hurt now. The other
Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish. And DeAndre Hunter.
DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish. And then you get the trade of Lou Williams over to them, which is another baller.
Oh, exactly.
So you got him coming in there. So there's a lot of stuff that did help Atlanta start putting it together. So, I mean, I guess you can say that Atlanta, I mean, you definitely can say Atlanta has better, younger shooters around them than Luka. But at the same time, Luka just seems to do a lot of solo ball, man. When you watch him, like it's a lot of solo ball, and I think that's the offense that they run, and they're comfortable with it, but it just can only get them but so far. You can win when you switching games every night. You playing a team here, a team there, and you could get that over. But when you get in a series, then that's what happens. You get into a series and you say, okay, now I understand. I know they plays. I know what they running. Now we're shutting this off, and we're going to make this person start doing something in a 7-game series. Then they can't win it, man.
Majid asked a great question. Who had more talent on paper at the start of the season, Dallas or Atlanta?
I think it was Dallas. But again, to your point, Hawk, Coach came in. He basically was a perfect pair, perfect with Trey. He built that team. Capella and Trey developed some chemistry. All of those other younger cats, developed their game, and you see what happened. He was the mix master, and it all came together.
Right. So okay, who
probably Dallas, especially because if you think about the hype of what Dallas came off of in the bubble last year, of what they did down in the bubble. You guaranteed that Dallas, especially from everybody, from the looks of it, just saying, okay, I would expect Dallas to do better than Atlanta. You would expect that.
They were. That's my point. But now it's like, oh, Luka didn't have help. Trey has. I mean, it's not about that. It's about this is how the season worked out, and they built different players. Luka is not going to be they want you to be the face of the NBA, but there's a lot of young people that gonna have something to say about that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good ballers. There's a lot of good NBA players right now that don't think that he's going to be the face of the NBA. That's all.
And Luka's tough. I give it to him, especially
he's nasty.
Especially
he's nasty.
The thing is defensively, the guy is slow. He's out of shape, and he don't play defense.
Well, in my little debate on Facebook, that one of the knocks on Trae Young is he's the worst defensive player in the history of the league. He's the biggest, in terms of a star player, he's the biggest liability ever. But then when you look at Luka, it's like, well, Luka's horrible on defense.
Exactly. And you know why I would say that he's worse? Because like you said, Hawk, Luka's way taller than him, way bigger than him. You can see Trae Young getting thrown around. Look how small he is. So you can understand that from a defensive end. You can understand that, like Trey's small, but Luka got the size and the strength to be able to body up anybody and play defense with him. Luka's worse, man. To be honest, on defense, he's worse than
he is.
And I would guess, even though I don't know this stat, but I would guess that Trey probably averaged more rebounds than Luka, because Luka just. I don't know. Trey averages about. I want to say.
Look that up. Let's look that up.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
I don't think more. I think he's about 5 or 4 or 5 a game. Trey for the season. Luka's probably 7.
Luka's probably 7, 8.
Let's see.
I would think, but I just like to see. They made that trade, and when you really look at the trade, people in Atlanta might have said they wanted Luka. But when they look at it in hindsight, they have Trae Young and Cam Reddish from that trade.
Luka averaged 8 this year.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Let me see Trey.
You get two studs, even though one is not playing yet. That's a better to me. That's a better deal.
Going in door.
3.9. So no, twice as many. Yeah, but that's totally understandable.
Yeah.
And you're building teams, so you're accounting for everybody's strengths and weaknesses, and it's just good to see team ball excel in the NBA. What Nate McMillan is doing with Atlanta is tremendous. And then before we get to the West, who you guys think gonna, who's coming out of the East right now, bro?
I still like Milwaukee, and I think the fact that Lopez can't cover that pick and roll, and that's why they kept getting burnt. I mean, I think they have to make an adjustment. They need to go small, and they have to basically control Trey. I mean, you have Holiday. He's there for your defensive, to stop Trey, basically. You know what I'm saying? And if he's not doing it, then they're going to lose the series. But I think that they could definitely turn it around because Middleton didn't show up, and Holiday had a pretty bad game. So I think, when both of them turn, play like they should are able to play, they can at least take game 2, and then going into Atlanta, if they can play their game, they can, still 1-2. I think it goes 7, but I think Milwaukee wins it.
I don't think that you could put that on, not you, Cliff, but I saw some people talking about it, and I seen the clips of them on Drew Holiday about like Trey stepping around and then doing a shimmy and then shooting the shot. But that's 2-on-1. What do you expect Holiday to do when the guy keeps picking you and you running around a pick? Bobby Portis has to step up. If Bobby Portis steps up, Trey can't dance.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? He either shooting or got to go around him. You know what I'm saying? So
somebody's cutting down that baseline though.
I would have called the timeout and said, "Yo, come over here, man. If y'all don't step up on this, you could take me out the game for real." Because Holiday can't keep fighting through big old John Collins or running around Collins while Trey dancing back and forth around him. You can't do it. While Bobby Portis is standing way below the free throw line, man. You gotta step up, man. Like you got to. So I definitely. I'm not going to put that on Holiday, man. That can happen to anybody, and it will happen to anybody. Yeah. If you be on the island on a pick and roll, the guy's going to dance around back and forth around the pick, and you can't get through it and get around it, and he'll make you look crazy out there, man. Because Holiday is a good defender, but I don't think he can't do that by himself, not in that pick and roll like that, especially if you got big old John Collins picking you.
Well, I think they just got to go small because I agree. I don't think Holiday is the culprit. I think Brook Lopez is the culprit. I think the fact that you got to play small. You got to put Giannis at the 5.
Yeah, I agree. You got to put, because what they're going to do is if you got Portis, especially when it gets down to the end of the game, fourth quarter, if you got Portis or Brook Lopez in there, whoever one of them are sticking, Trey's going to call them up, which is going to pull Bobby Portis or Lopez onto Trey, and then Trey's gonna dance on them and go right down the middle.
Answer this question for me. I know Milwaukee advanced, but why the hell wasn't Bobby Portis playing in the last round? It doesn't make any sense. I never understood that. Like Bulldozer, you have this dude out there. He could have played last round as well. So I don't understand why he didn't play, but that's another story. But
yeah, they got to come with, like you said, Cliff. They got to go smaller. Like you got to go with Connaughton and all those guys, and you got to put Giannis at the 5.
Yeah.
Well, Coach Bud is on the hot seat. He lose this series. People saying his basically he's on the chopping block. So
I like Atlanta because I was asking Hakeem, if you ask people right now to rank the teams. Who's your team from 1 to 4 based on coaching? Milwaukee would be 4.
Yeah, you're right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So I don't know. I mean, I think Milwaukee's more talented. That's easy to see. But if you look at the coaching, he's got to be the worst of the 4 people left.
Yeah.
And there's just something about that Atlanta stew. It's just stirred the right way. They don't have the best ingredients. But the way they put it together and spice it up, it's hitting right now. So
they hit shots.
They might not be the best, but they got some good ingredients. I can tell you that because some young shooters out there sitting waiting for that ball, man. And it's all set on a pick and roll. And if you don't step up, or if you late, he's shooting a float over top of you. Or if you move up as a big guy, he's blowing by you, laying it up. If you're getting his way down there, he's kicking it, or you come from inside the double, he's kicking it to the corner to one of them young boys shooting that ball. It's just tough. It's tough to defend. I will shot though, so
I got Atlanta. Let's go. What are you gonna say, Wes? Can't hear you.
Audio.
There you go.
You got me?
Yeah, you on.
Okay.
What's that?
Yeah, I got Atlanta as well.
All right. So y'all got Milwaukee. Me and Wes got Atlanta.
And KG got the Clippers. They still there. They still alive, man.
I do.
Yeah, but you was early. You know, you was early. We salute you for that. You know, you tried to jump ship, but we wouldn't let you. Aren't you glad we would let you jump ship?
Nah, I told you I'm gonna stay with it. I'm gonna stay with my pick, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Well, Ty Lue is definitely doing his thing, and I think they're gonna play a good game tonight. I really think that they're gonna come back despite what happened with Paul George. He's talking pretty confident tonight. He said, they feel good tonight. This the
better. What else could he say? They better. Because they lose tonight. It's a wrap.
It's a sweep. It's a sweep. But if you look at they're the only team in well, I don't know about the only team, but they've come down from 2-0-2 starts already. So this is their third one. I think if they do it in another round, they'll be the first team to overcome 3-0-2 starts.
Definitely gotta be. Probably.
Yeah, but they obviously have the makeup and the pedigree to get those road wins. I mean those comeback turn series around. So we'll see what happens.
And they got the coaching to do it. Like Ty Lue has proved it. You know, he did. Remember, he did it with Cleveland.
Yeah. I just hate the fact that they keep not really telling us that Kawhi is gone for the year. They're not. They're just.
They don't need to tell us. We all know, man. We know better. Kawhi ain't coming back.
I know, man. I wish he would, though. I wish he could at least make, but they haven't definitively said he's out for the year. So
Kawhi going to Brooklyn.
Hey, Cliff. If you was in that situation and then you went down 0-3, you coming back for game 4, you'd be like, man, listen, man, it's all really get into my rehab now.
Yeah, no, I think it's in his best interest to sit that ass down and chill, like regardless of what happens, because you got your rest of your career. You don't want to get out there too early, trying to push it, knee buckle. Now you miss all of next year, and you don't want to go through all that. Get back right.
Ain't he a free agent too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see him leaving though.
Listen, Phoenix and Atlanta. You said Atlanta got that thing stirred up right now. Phoenix is right with them.
Yeah, and Chris Paul's coming back.
Yeah,
and that's scary.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's talk about the Phoenix Suns right fast. Let's talk about Depot. We didn't really get into him.
Role player basketball to perfection.
Ayton.
Everybody understands their role. What they say in the movie Untouchables? Individual achievement, but not part of a team. Well, they are a team. They are a team.
Yeah.
They play like a team. Everybody does everything that they're supposed to do. Nobody looks flustered. I mean, no one is trying to do more than they're supposed to do. Even Devin Booker. Devin Booker is just really playing in the flow. He's not really forcing anything. They're taking something away, something else is there, and it don't have to have his name on it. So
everybody doing a little, so nobody has to do a lot.
Absolutely.
And that game 1, Devin Booker did show out though. That 40-point triple-double, he did his thing. I mean, his game 2 wasn't, as good, but
he did some important things down the stretch. And let's talk about that second game, because that was the weirdest. I mean, that was the weirdest game ever down the stretch.
It was weird.
It was just the whole thing was just screwy. And for me, it started when Paul George inbounded the pass off the back of somebody. Remember that?
Yeah.
He inbounded the ball off the back of somebody, and then there was it was a little confusion as to who knocked it out on the sideline. It was that long break when they went to the video to check. It was like a 10-minute break.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a couple of those going on.
Yeah, then they could back to back, and it was the weirdest thing. And then the ball goes out of bounds, and it should have been Clipper ball. They give it back to Phoenix, and then we get the.
Oh, you talking about the one with the the one that got it to the end? You talking about when Bridges shot from the corner? You think Ayton actually hit that out over man?
Yeah, no, for sure. He definitely did. You can see it. It's skint off his fingers.
You couldn't really tell. Like they made the call, you couldn't really tell who hit it.
The ill it was
Because
weird.
honestly, from my eyes, like and from playing basketball, you from the normal eye, like I say, in the physics of playing basketball, that play when Pat Bev hit it out of bounds off Booker, and they said it came off Booker, you would naturally think that was a hit off of Pat Bev, but they called it off of Booker, and then you can't see his hand there. Obviously, maybe it was off of Booker.
Well,
but it's just
it was definitely off of Booker, because like Pat Bev did that was dope what he did. He basically timed the dribble so he would smack the ball back into his hand, and then Booker pushed the ball out of bounds. Happened real slight, but if looking at it, I would have called it off of Beverly. But looking at the replay, it was actually off of Booker.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. That's the same thing. What I'm saying about the Ayton thing, your natural eyes or instinct would say it's off Ayton, but if you look at the replay, it could have shown different. But here's the
thing with the Booker joint, we had 50 different angles. With the Ayton, they showed you one angle. Why?
Right. I don't know. That's puzzling.
It ain't puzzling. I can tell you why. But before that, to talk about that Booker play, first of all, the call was right, but they said that it was wrong in the letter of the rule. Because again, he smacked it away, and it touched his hand last, but the momentum cause go out. But the letter of the rule should have basically gave Phoenix the ball. But to answer your question, KG, the reason why I only showed that once, man, it's all about gambling, yo. When they go to those monitors and it's indecisive, or it seems like it's the other way, they are calling New York. They're seeing where the money is, and the call is going that way.
I think it was a makeup. Because like too many of these calls every call can't go Clippers way. We're going to give Phoenix a chance. And if they get a chance on this one little, 0 seconds, then that's their chance. I think that's exactly like you're saying, Cliff, especially with that. They like, let's keep it here.
Yeah, but it's all about the money. But why did they go to the replay in that situation when there's been plays I've been watching in the playoffs were clearly off the other team, and they can't, it's like 4 minutes on the clock, so they can't get it right then. That doesn't make sense.
Well, you can't. I think you only can go to the replay or do the little after 2 minutes.
I know, but that doesn't make, when you think about it, you could be on a run. That play where you get the ball back could continue a run, and it stops momentum. So
that's what the coach's challenge is for.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it just.
Yeah, I know what you're saying though, but it does. It definitely hurts it from that point. It's just, it was just weird. That game last night was very weird, and it was slowed down and just drawn out with all of the check it, all of those. But that just shows you how the stakes is so high at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
and that every possession means that much.
Yeah. It's all the money. The stakes mean all the money that's on the line. That's what that means.
That's the rest of the stakes. Yeah. Now that play, I don't know if it's the greatest play in playoff history, but it's got to be up there because the timing, the execution. I love the way Ayton grabbed Zubac and pulled him into Devin Booker. That was dope. He grabbed him, come here, and pulled him into Devin Booker, cut down the lane, ball goes up, everything's executed to a
And the fact that they knew they could do that, because a lot of people thought it was basket interference, but it's not, because it's not a shot and you're out of bounds.
That's great coaching. So, back to Monty Williams.
Yeah, so
but if
it's out of bounds, so that's not a shot at the basket. So
but if it was better coaching on the other side, they would have knew to basically have DeMarcus Cousins block that angle to the paint. That ball should have never got into the paint like that. That was just that was bad preparation on their part, yo.
It was, because definitely with that little bit of time, one of the first options you would think about is let's take away the lob to the rim, and then let's look at everything else that can potentially happen. Exactly. Because with little time like that, the easiest thing in your mind is a lob.
Take away the lob to the rim. Yeah, take it away. Do not let the ball go there.
Well, they made a good point too. They said that and Chris Paul has said this too. He said most NBA defenses are geared to stop the three. So they were defending the 3-point shot instead of the paint, which is,
And they said,
again,
too, what made it brilliant is that your eyes was all on Devin Booker, and Devin Booker became the screener, and that's what threw them off.
Yeah, and just to add ways you can be effective without scoring the ball, the value that you bring to the camp that doesn't necessarily get into the box scores, but has he shot he was 5 for 21. No, 5 for 20. 21 points. No, I'm somebody else's stats. That's Trae Young.
That was Trae Young.
He was 5 for 21, but there's a few things that Devin Booker did down the stretch. A few key shots, and of course that play right there. It just shows you how you have your imprint on the game without scoring the ball. Yeah.
And they said that today that it came out that the play was designed 2 options. And they said that actually the Ayton thing was the second option.
Second option. The first option was Booker bouncing out.
Was Cam Johnson coming around on the curl.
On the 3.
Curl play.
Paul George picked him up.
Paul George slid around. Paul George slid around and was there. So he switched it that quick to throw the lob. And that's just quick thinking right there. Like, because you only got 5 seconds.
And that was a perfect lob, too. That was perfect. Because I don't know if y'all saw how it almost hit the side of the actual backboard. I mean, it was like a centimeter. It was a perfect pass, bro.
Because the backboard's sitting there. It's like that was definitely like to perfection.
Yeah. Hey, Kay, something happened with your audio? You sound a little faint. Yeah, it's just weird because it just happened. It's like you didn't move, you didn't go anywhere. It just happened.
Maybe because I might have had my finger on the mic or something. Is it better now?
No, sounds the same. Yeah. Come back in.
Yeah, that was a great play.
Yeah,
Well executed, and that last 35 seconds of that game took about 40 minutes.
2 hours.
Yeah, I was on the phone with Cliff that whole time. Like he had his broadcast was faster than mine. He was maybe like 15 seconds ahead. So I could hear him going on the TV. Yo, what's going on? What's going on? He's like, oh, wait till you see this. Yo, you ain't gonna believe this. Ayton had the mic check 1, 2, KG.
How's it sound now?
Excellent.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah, I was on the phone with Cliff when that play happened, but his broadcast was like 15 seconds ahead of mine. So I could hear what was going on in the background through the phone, but I watching it, he's not telling me. He's like, oh man, wait till you see this. And then I caught up to Ayton flushing it. And that was dope. That was dope. Big shout out to them, Monty Williams. They're doing their thing. Yeah, Phoenix is definitely, finely tuned.
I got Phoenix in that one.
Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah,
I do too. I didn't have fun. I had the Clippers, but I think this is where it ends for me. Phoenix is definitely about to
wow. So Phoenix and what? Sweet?
No,
5, 6.
I think that's gonna be a good series. I think that could go the distance.
I don't know about that.
I say 6.
I think that, like I said, I picked the Clippers, but I think it's 6. I think
it's 6.
I think it's 6. Yeah, so Wes and I have Atlanta, Phoenix, and you guys have Phoenix, Milwaukee. Yeah.
And you both everybody got Phoenix winning it all.
I wouldn't mind either one of them. It don't even matter.
I don't mind.
I don't mind.
It
wouldn't even matter to me with that.
Yeah.
Like, I think it'll be a good series. It wouldn't even matter to me.
The head says Phoenix. The heart says Atlanta.
I think Giannis and Drew and those guys, even on PJ Tucker, they deserve it. And then you look at Chris Paul and all those guys. I mean, especially Chris Paul more than anything. Chris Paul deserves it. So and Monty Williams, put it like that. Chris Paul and Monty Williams deserve it. So it doesn't matter if out of those two.
No, looking at the teams that are left, right? These small market teams, right? These are Clippers in LA, but it's the baby brother. What does that say for the league and parity? And it was worried that all the stars wanted to be in the big markets, the New Yorks, the Miamis, LA Lakers. When we look across the league, some small market teams are really excelling and making a good show of it. So what do y'all think about that?
I think it's good. It's gonna bring back the people going back to what it used to be. I think a lot of these young guys are gonna stay put and put their footprint on these teams and not try to play together. I think we're gonna get away from the join up, and people are gonna just do what these guys they're watching. I mean, the one thing we can say about the NBA over the years, they've been a copycat league. So people take the trend, and right now it looks like the trend is going to be get yourself some young boys and go out there and play hard.
Exactly. That's all it is, man.
Yeah.
Any team can eventually get there. You draft well, take you a few years, but draft well, man. Y'all start gelling together, get you a nice core. Everybody do their role, play their role to the utmost, man. You can get there.
Yeah. And you get the right veterans around them. You know,
because it's a gold rush of young talent out there right now. You're talking about these cats 20, 22, 23. They they're ready to take over the league.
No, but if there was a gold rush before, the problem was everybody kept telling them that they had to win within 3 years in the league. That's the problem. So everybody had this mindset that I got to go join 3 other superstars versus just taking my lumps and earning my ring. That's what it is.
Exactly. That's why, if you notice, when I just said for Phoenix, Chris Paul and Monty Williams, and I didn't even say Devin Booker or the other guys, because I just feel like that, they've been there, but not long. Devin Booker's been there then Jay Crowder too, also Jay Crowder.
Yeah.
It's been a minute for him. But for the most part, the rest of Phoenix, a bunch of young guys. I think that they have a lot more to go. Chris Paul at this point, he's been trying and been there for a long time, like you said. And it's just like a lot of people are putting it on, like thinking these young guys supposed to come to the league, supposed to win. Like, listen, man, like you got to put the work in, man. You'll eventually get there, man. Unless you end up on a squad.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about the Boston news? How you say his name?
Udoka.
Udoka.
He used to play for the Knicks, right?
He played for San Antonio.
He played for the Spurs. Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. Okay. And he came up under the Popovich tree with the San Antonio Spurs and assistant coach.
I think he also Nia Long baby daddy.
Yeah, that's his wife is Nia Long.
Yeah, I didn't know that was his wife. I didn't know they got married.
Salute to him.
I don't know if they married.
I thought they was
married. You just gave baby daddy status.
I didn't know if they got married or not.
No, I thought they was married.
Did you guys see that Rick Carlisle went to the Pacers?
Yeah, Carlisle went to the Pacers, which is a surprise because I thought he was going to go to Boston. And Jason Kidd is the front runner for the Mavericks.
Who, Jason Kidd?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, is he a front runner or was he just endorsed by Carlisle?
He's the front runner.
Wow.
They just said it on. They just had it on ESPN.
Yeah, that makes total sense though.
I was actually thinking, your boy, out of what's the Lakers coach? Who's the Lakers coach?
Vogel.
But I thought Vogel's gone. I thought Jason Kidd was gonna get that spot this summer, to be honest with you. So I'm surprised at that.
Yeah. He's the front runner for Dallas, and Rick Carlisle's Indiana Pacers.
It would make sense. Jason Kidd in Dallas. That makes sense. What about Chauncey Billups? Where's he gonna go? Is he gonna find a home, you think?
Chauncey Billups needs to be somewhere as well.
Maybe Portland.
I think Sam Cassell need to be somewhere.
They
mentioned somebody saying that Portland was looking at one of these guys, and it was shocking to me. It wasn't none of them though.
Wow.
It wasn't none of those guys. Portland is looking at somebody else.
Yeah, Sam Cassell, I think, needs to get a job.
Yeah.
He's been on the bench a long time. Look, I mean, I like Chauncey Billups, but he ain't been on the bench as long as Sam Cassell.
Nah.
Man.
Nah.
It'll be interesting to see where they fill these other spots up, because there's a lot of jobs that if I'm Sam Cassell and Chauncey Billups, I won't take it right now.
Yeah.
You don't want that to be your job.
Greg on the confirmation, my man.
Such as.
I don't know if I would take the Detroit Piston job. I'm not sure about that. I'm just not sure if I want to do that.
Wait. Who's that?
They got the top pick.
They fired Dwayne Casey.
Yeah.
When that happened?
I don't know. I guess the end of the season, but he's not there.
Wow.
And I'm not sure I want the Orlando job.
Right, that's who it is. They did. That's right. He's right.
Yeah,
JP, right. Becky. That Portland's looking at the at Becky Hammond.
And I heard Dawn Staley is up for a job. She was being interviewed for a job too.
Yeah. I knew it was somebody just like off the grid and weird that Portland was looking at. That's exactly what it is, Becky Hammond.
How many teams in the NBA? 30, right?
32?
32 football teams, 30 basketball teams. How many black coaches, black male coaches in the NBA? 7.
You got 3 in the finals right now.
You got 3 in the finals. I think 7 league wide.
I think it's 7.
I think it's about 7. Yeah, about 7.
Right. Yeah. And when they open up the door, they're gonna open up the door for everybody else.
Wow. I think
interesting.
Wow.
Interesting. It's interesting.
We'll see.
We'll see.
You want another interesting topic, Hop? Y'all take note of the Olympic team roster?
I
saw it.
I didn't see the whole roster.
You see it?
I saw it.
You saw it?
What happened?
It's just it's I don't know. Let me find the word. There's no real like normal flair to it. It's a couple of
guys. Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday are on it.
KD's on it. KD's on it.
Well, the roster I have is Kevin Durant, Lillard, Booker, Beal, Middleton, Draymond Green, Tatum, Drew Holiday, Bam Adebayo, Kevin Love, Zach LaVine, and Jeremy Grant recently committed. Yeah. So that's 12 of them. But what I was saying is, isn't it odd that Kevin Love made the team?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the
Kevin Love ain't even played. Kevin Love haven't even played for the last couple of seasons. Like, how are you on some Olympic team?
Well,
who co-signed that?
Well, this is what I'm hearing, that they didn't want to send an all-black team to Tokyo. So
that's what it sounds like, because what the heck? Like where you find Kevin Love at?
Kevin Love wasn't the 3rd best player on his team this year. So how was he making the Olympic team? I mean,
that makes no sense.
Although a lot of people turned them down this year, though, too.
Yeah, so, as well. Yeah,
man, that and then even looking at that team and that squad too, I'm just like, dang, where are your big men? Yo, they don't even have no big men.
Well, that's why they were saying that Ayton would have been a better choice than Kevin Love, and so he got basically snubbed. So,
yeah.
I guess, but Ayton's still playing for a chip right now. Everybody that's on that roster.
Nah, Booker's on there.
Booker's on there.
But also too, I don't know, like I don't know, like how it is with as far as their basketball team. But isn't Ayton Jamaican?
Yeah, but he's he played. I think he is Jamaican, but he can play for the U.S. He doesn't. He would play for the U.S. in the Olympics. I know that.
Okay. I don't know if Jamaica even has a basketball team in the Olympics. I don't know.
Nah, just bobsled.
It's not track. They track.
No, I know.
Their track team is ridiculous. You already know that.
Yeah. What other white American players are in the league that's standouts?
Gordon Hayward would be one.
Yeah.
Gordon Hayward would be one.
Wow, you know what? That's crazy. The fact that everybody's here paused and trying to really think of it,
Yeah.
To be honest, most of them are probably international players. When you say the white players that are good, they're mostly international ones.
Yeah.
And they're playing for their country when it comes to that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's funny because Mark Cuban had made some comments. I don't know, it was last year, a few years ago, about the African American player coming out of AAU in the college game, and the fundamental part of our game is kind of gone. And, you know, overseas is where real basketball is played now, and the European players coming in more prepared with foundational skills, what have you. It's just interesting to hear that coming from Mark Cuban. But you know, interesting. What, you know, where's the white American player at in the NBA? And is it just white Americans are just like, we're not trying to compete with black people, or because it can't be they can't do it because the European players so into the game. So it can't be.
I mean, there's
a racial thing.
There's a few in there. I mean, you could go like you could dig around like the dude like from like Atlanta, Kevin Huerter. You got him. You got Tyler Hero.
The other dude from Michigan on that team, Duncan Robinson.
Duncan Robinson
was nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I mean, there's a few.
Yeah, I mean, it's not this, but it's not like
it's just that if we really had the list in front of us, you'll name it. It's just coming off the head. It's hard, but there's a few of them in it.
Listen, white basketball players that could play that are standouts are like black baseball players. There's a few of them. Mm-hmm. It's the same exact thing.
Yeah, but is that strictly about the interest from the community?
I think it's for basketball. I think it has more to do with the level of competition. In baseball, I think it's about the community and exposure, because baseball is one of those sports you need a group of people to play it, right? And it costs a lot of money to continue to keep your kid. I mean, thousands of dollars to play travel baseball, you know, or competitive baseball at the high school or even even like middle school level. So it's more money involved. Basketball, if you look at the competition, just when you go to these tournaments and you see these games, there's some good teams out there from all over the country, but sometimes they just don't match up. I mean, it's just that simple. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. But I just think it's more of a competitive balance in basketball.
You got the other dude, the big dude that got in trouble that said the Jewish comment or whatever. The big dude.
Yeah, he's out the league though, isn't he? They moved him. They moved him somewhere else.
They traded him, but I forgot his name.
Yeah, I think he might have got cut.
Miles Leonard.
Miles Leonard. They traded him to Portland.
OKC. I think they traded him to OKC.
OKC, but traded him. He's not out the league. They just traded him. Okay. You got him. He's a white kid. That's in there.
Yeah.
Ingles. JT said Ingles.
Caruso.
But no,
Ingles
just got locked up.
He's from Australia.
Yeah.
And Caruso
Yo, big shout out to my homie Caruso. Oh, he knows Barry Madison, son.
Yo, the Caruso.
You know what I mean? Big shout out to you, famo. This joy's for you, Caruso.
Yeah,
you got Caruso.
He got targeted. I hear he got targeted. Even though he definitely, they were like, oh, here coming. They're like, he got targeted. There's no way he's going through that College Station Airport in Texas. College Station, please.
Why are you bringing
my only ticket in Texas is College Station.
Why are you bringing a grinder? I mean, I just don't get that. He got the smelly keef on the bottom of it too. Come on now. Come on. He didn't want to lose that keef.
He's lucky because Texas don't play with the weed, bro.
Yeah,
they don't play. If he wasn't an LA Laker,
it
could be a totally different story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but you can carry a gun with no license in Texas, though. Can't smoke weed. You know what I mean? You
can carry you can just go get a gun. As a matter of fact, I'm about to go get some cornflakes and a gun. It's just that easy out here. Yeah.
Let me get that 12-gauge shotgun. I got these cornflakes, and let me get it.
And these gummy bears. Let me get these gummy bears.
And a pack of juicy fruit.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how easy it is out here to get a gun. But I want to ask another question, fellas. So we have random NBA thoughts. Yesterday, I want to hear your thoughts on this one and see if it's possible. Jay Williams decided to say when Udoka got hired, that was a good hire by the Celtics because, the first time they hired a black coach, Jay Williams, right? So he got called on it because
What about
Casey
Casey
Jones, Doc
Jones?
Rivers, Bill
What about
Russell.
Casey Jones?
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell,
Bill
Doc
Russell, the
Doc
first
Rivers.
black coach ever.
Yeah. So he said that his Twitter account got hacked, and they put that in there.
Stop, son. Stop, son.
Knock it off. Knock it off. What it is he jumped out the window and he pressed send and then thought about it and was like, oh man, I'm bugging.
Yeah, like don't you have a Hakeem said you got a PR guy or something?
Nah, you supposed to run that type of stuff through people before you go. You start bucking off, nigga. You start bucking off like you gotta listen. No, bro, that's not right. You got Bill Russell, Casey Jones, Doc Rivers. Oh, yeah. Let me not go. We the sentiment
and ML Carr for a hot second.
Yeah,
right. That is true. Right.
Yeah.
That's
now
fun.
we definitely appreciate the energy. We see where you was going with it, brother. But make sure you fact check so it sticks. We don't want to devalue your voice because you definitely thinking the right way. You don't want to devalue yourself by giving out wrong information. And for our viewership out there, if we ever bug out and say something left, please fact check us and put it down here so we don't run.
I already got fact checked. Big Chuck came on one time and told me I was wrong about a coach in the NCAA tournament. And he was right. I was wrong. I gave it to him. I was like, okay, you got that one, brother.
All right. So since we talk about hot topics, right? What do you guys feel about? Not even feel about, but what do you guys think about the whole thing with the Raiders guy?
Well, I was talking about that one with my wife the other day. And I said, when my man Sam was in the league, right?
Michael
Sam, they said that he couldn't play. That's what that's always, it's like Colin Kaepernick couldn't play, right? Mm-hmm. And this guy's being celebrated like something crazy. And I just, it's just I could care less about his sexual preference, but I'm just saying, right. Michael Sam was a good football player, and people underestimate the fact that if you're not accepted in a situation in your life, it affects how you perform in whatever you're doing. And being coming out at the time he did when he wasn't accepted probably had an effect on how he looked on the football field. And it wasn't that he couldn't play, because he could play. Is that he just couldn't play because mentally he was messed up because of what he had to go through and what he had to endure. So this guy's being embraced, so he's gonna be okay. But that's embraced by the outside media. Is not really. I think if you ask those football players out there, they're gonna be mixed emotions in it. It's gonna be a lot of mixed emotions.
And so it's like you said, mixed emotions, but it's also gonna be a lot of it. Just like, yo, man, like I don't care. Like what he do when he go home, I don't care. Yeah. Because a lot of people tend to overhype a lot of that stuff when they think that, like just because like all of us, good and well, all of us have known people like that's gay people or whatever, or guys that did whatever, like growing up. And we were just like, yo, that's my homie, cool. Or even if it wasn't your homie, you knew him, you knew the person, or you knew somebody like that, or somebody that knew somebody like that. And you just like, oh, that's such and such, whatever, A lot of people tend to just put a lot too much on, like you're saying, Wes, and then even from the hype side of it, hype it up for whatever reasons or another agenda that's behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting to look at.
To your point, Kay, I was having a conversation with Paradise Gray the other day on Madison TV, and we talked about that, how hip hop, in terms of going to the clubs, started out in gay clubs and punk clubs. That it wasn't a matter of whether hip hop embraced gay people, is whether gay people embraced hip hop. And because gays embraced hip hop, that gave us a place to even exist in the club, right? So we, like you said, we've all grown up with gay people. They're our family members, our brothers, our sisters, our fathers, our mothers, our whatever. Like that's
they on the street, man. Listen,
right.
In the streets. I've been out there in the streets and seen thugs that was gay, and out there selling clothes and doing whatever, and they were just street cats out there, but they're just gay cats.
Just what it's like that conversation for the most part. I think in every aspect of our life, there's a level of, all right, whatever. Like, what are we here to do? Can we achieve the goal? Okay, great. Now, some of us are sensitive and like we don't want to see things out in front of us. And I get all that, and that's another conversation. With Michael Sam, he was exploited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a very pivotal time because I think the Kaepernick thing had happened already.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the NFL used that story of him coming out of the closet and being openly gay to kind of weather the NFL social justice, that whole thing that they were on. They used him, got what they needed from him, dismissed him, moved him along. White privilege is just like, what's my man from the Major League Baseball who's responsible for free agency but didn't get a chance to. Kurt Flood, thank you. Kurt Flood, who's responsible for free agency, didn't get a chance to actually. He didn't. He fought. He didn't. Thank you. Went to the Supreme Court. Went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court rules in the favor of whatever, but he didn't benefit from it. Michael Sam is the one who kicks the door down and say, "Hey, listen, we can freely come up." He kissed the boy on TV. It's another conversation. Kissed the boy on TV, and then this guy comes around. And he's a mediocre player. He's not a star. He comes out and reminds me of somebody else because of skin color, who's mediocre or less than mediocre, who gets chance after chance after chance.
Tebow.
Tim Tebow. Right. And it's like it's obvious what they're doing. It's obvious what the NFL is doing. Whether it's the NFL or it's the media or it's there's a racial bias when it comes to the black athlete, black people. It continues. And this is just, I think, another example of it. I applaud this particular player for coming out, speaking his truth, what have you. I want to see what you do on the football field. Outside of that, everything else is irrelevant to me.
It is, exactly.
Yeah, basically. He's a football player. He's going to be out there on Sunday. If he can play, he can play. If he can't, he can't.
That's it. Like, it ain't like, it ain't like, nobody, like, a lot of people be joking about the stuff. Ain't like nobody got to be worrying about this guy walking upon you in the showers, like at the end of the game. Come on, man, dudes. That's stupidity.
It hasn't changed since Sam or before Sam. It's still the same. You're going to get the same reaction you would have gotten years ago. Is this how the NFL wants to handle it now?
And
that's the only difference.
And gay people in the NFL have always existed. You can best believe.
Yeah, definitely.
This is Rome.
I think the NFL, like you said, is just like, okay, now is our chance. We can embrace this because we have an agenda, and we can use this to further the agenda from off of him with this as well. So that's what I think is going.
Yeah.
Well, I think
jersey's the highest selling jersey.
We should all, yeah, it is, but we should all really watch this though, because we can say all we want to say, but football players are a different breed. And again, you talk about that cat in their locker room, and you're talking about the Raiders. Okay, so the black and the menace saying their reputation. We can all say what we want to say, but depending on how his teammates treat him and how that locker room runs is going to be the real story. Because I don't buy it. I think the NFL provided him a soft landing, but I don't think it's going to be easy peasy. I don't think he's just going to walk up in there and everything is going to be coochie crunch.
I don't think
it's going to be a big deal, bro.
I can imagine. I can imagine if it gets into a heated argument of anything, but overall, I don't think people are just going to be, turning a side eye to him or whatever.
Oh, I don't think that either. I'm talking about the locker room.
But I definitely hear what you're saying. Like, if it gets to an argument or gets to a line of something, it can be,
bro, they already knew. There's no, come on, bro.
Yeah.
They already knew. This is Rome, bro. This is football, NFL, NCAA, Penn State is the epitome of Rome. When you get behind closed doors, it's actually you get behind closed doors, it's all out in the open. Jokers know who's who. Yeah, you do.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Zandusky was Zandusky for a long time.
For a long time, dude. And they knew in the 70s, in the 90s, it kept coming up over and over again. It pop up. And you know who that guy is. Come on, man. You did college. So you mean to tell me he was that guy in college and nobody knew?
Right.
Stop it, B.
He didn't become Zandusky when he was 65. He was Zandusky when he was 15.
15.
Right, but like Cliff said, though, it could, you know, like football is a different breed of characters, man. Like that is the most barbaric sport out there. Like, or not the most, but one of the most. And you know, it takes, you know, you play on the edge, you play with an attitude, you have to, because of the kind of sport it is. And like I said, it can fly off the handle in there out of nowhere.
It's a new generation.
Right. And everybody hasn't been his teammates for long too. So what if you got a guy that gets traded there? Or what if you got a guy that was a rookie and now he didn't really know? I mean, whatever. You never know. Football is one of those things where it's a lot of cast of characters.
That's what I'm saying. It's a huge locker room.
Yeah, how many people is it like 52 on the roster?
52, 53. Yeah, 52, 53.
Yeah, that's a lot of people, man.
Yeah, but the thing I'm finding out about, you know, like the younger generation, K, is like they're really open about their sexuality and accepting and embracing of each other's sex. Like, you know, though we said what we said earlier, way more than we ever were. And I'm having conversations with parents about their children and the openness in the different LGBTQ clubs that exist in high school campuses all across, and how much support they get from the other students. And like, it really is different.
I do agree. I agree with you, Hawk. I agree with you. I mean, it's kind of
every show. I mean, every show has some similar.
I agree. It is a different breed. I mean, it's even like that, you know, sort of like I look at that even from a race standpoint, you know, like how these kids now, like they look at it totally different than, you know, back in the days. I mean, times have changed, you know, so I hear what you're saying, Hawk.
Times have changed, Hawk, and I agree. People have changed, but have football players changed? I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. But I mean, like I said, it'll be very curious to watch how that team, that locker room, all of that goes. So,
I mean, how many football players, high school football players in America? Hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands. I mean, college football over the year, bruh. There's a lot of gay football players that people know. People knew. It's just it was their business, so it didn't matriculate to the public. This dude is going, I'm publicly coming out. They knew. That's why he could come out without fear of, because they already knew. And in this day and age, nah, bro, we embrace you. Whatever, let's win this game. That's it. That's where they at now, right? And which is a good thing. Which is a good thing, because again, my opinion, your sexuality ain't my business. That's not what we're here for. I love and respect you as a human being. Hope you can love and respect me as a human being. And that's all there is to it. Right?
That's it. You know, it's all about expecting, you know, respecting boundaries, and that's it, really. You know.
Yeah, man. So I don't know if we got any other hot topics out there. We got, you know.
I got one more, and it's gonna be a debate. Not a debate, but it's gonna be a debate. How about Stephen A. Smith, all-time top 5 point guards?
Who was he?
Number five was Chris Paul. Number 4 was Isaiah Thomas. Number 3 was Oscar Robinson. Number 2 was Steph Curry. And number 1 was Magic Johnson. And then Max Kellerman got up on the stage and said, I can't argue. You hit it right out the park.
Yeah, I would say Magic, Isaiah, Oscar Robinson. Man. Chris Paul on my list. I got Jason Kidd on my list.
I have Jason Kidd on my list too.
And
I got John Stockton.
I have John Stockton on my list. Yep. I have Stockton on my list.
John Stockton. Yeah.
You got it. Come on now.
John Stockton.
And the reason, and I'm not trying to, because I treat Steph like I treat Allen Iverson. I don't have him as a point guard. I just have him as a two guard. He's just not a point guard to me. That's just my.
Yeah, they're masquerading.
Yeah.
For what a point guard is, you know.
But then even when you line him up against those guys, like having him number 2, like for changing the game. I mean, the dude changed the way we play basketball right now. I get that. I mean, transcendent. But in terms of a point guard, how you have him ahead of Oscar Robertson and Isaiah Thomas is just beyond my belief.
Yeah, he's caught it now. He's caught it now.
It doesn't make any sense.
JT says, nah, who you got, JT? So I definitely.
This is a never-ending argument. It's like top 5 rappers and all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
You know, this is never-ending thing. Because depending on what era you came in, and even with the eras, you're gonna some's gonna flip-flop out of it. You know, primarily, you know, outside of 2 of them, y'all agree with Stephen A. with 3 out of the 5.
Yeah, I agree with the fact that Isaiah and Oscar Robinson are on that list.
Yeah, and
Magic.
But I can't put Chris Paul in the top 5.
I can't put Chris Paul over.
And most likely, that's gonna be primarily probably agreed upon almost with everybody. You know, and then the other 2 is gonna fluctuate depending on who you're talking to.
Yeah,
I
you think about Chris Paul, right? And you put him up against Isaiah. I mean, let's take Isaiah, Oscar, and Magic out of it. Chris Paul, and let's line Chris Paul up against Jason Kidd and John Stockton. John Stockton hasn't won a championship, but he was in 2. He was all defense 9 times. Okay, he leads the league in assists and second in steals all time. Mm-hmm. So right there alone. And he plays on both ends, right? So we got that, right? Chris Paul hasn't even been to a finals yet, okay? His resume is still open, so he might get to the finals. Jason Kidd got to the finals twice or 3 times, right?
Maybe
3 times. He got 1 championship.
Maybe 3. I think he got there 3.
He got there 3 times. Yeah, he got there twice with the
Nets.
Twice with the Nets.
Yeah.
Once with Dallas and twice with the Nets.
Yeah, that's 3. So, but he got 1 chip and 3 appearances, right? Mm-hmm. So, and his stats are ridiculous, and he played on both ends.
Yeah,
so it's like Chris Paul's not finished yet. So let's not put guys. To me personally, when you talk about all-time lists, let's not put guys that are still playing on them. That's the first rule of thumb. Yeah. If you're still playing, don't be on the list yet because you're not.
You ain't write your book yet.
You didn't write your book.
You're not finished. The chapter's not done.
The chapter's not done. That's the first mistake that guys make. You know, with those lists, you got to, because the guys that are on the list that aren't playing, they can't change anything.
Now JT said Magic's not a true point guard.
No,
he had the ball the whole time.
Offense ran through him.
Yeah. What was Magic if he wasn't a point guard? He didn't guard.
Because he's 6'10", he ain't a point guard. Magic was a point guard, like the point guard.
He was the point guard. He didn't guard point guards, but he was the point guard.
Yeah. Gary Payton? Was Gary Payton? I don't know.
I have Gary Payton in there too. Only
Gary Payton was a point guard.
He can't have him in the top 5.
No, not the top 5. He's in my top 8.
Top 10. Definitely top 10.
Yeah. What about James Harden?
Well, he's not a point guard.
James Harden's a shoot guard, man.
Shoot guard. I mean, he played the point for Brooklyn. He played the point for Brooklyn this year.
He did. He played it, but he's a shooting guard.
But again, he's still playing. Can James Harden finish his career?
He's still playing. Yes, sir.
When James Harden, when he played in OKC, Westbrook was the point guard. When they played together in Houston, Westbrook was the point guard.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
Well, what do y'all think about what Steve Kerr said?
About KD being better than Jordan?
Well, he said
he didn't say better.
KD was the most gifted basketball player ever, is what he said.
Most skilled. Yeah, most gifted. He
said gifted.
So not, you got to factor in Wilt Chamberlain, you got to factor in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you got to factor in a lot of people to make that statement, though being more gifted doesn't make you better. Jordan was a better, of course, the best player. Well, after Kareem.
Yeah, but I mean, I get what he's saying. He's basically saying KD can do it all.
He can.
Jordan wasn't a great 3-point shooter. KD is a good 3-point shooter. KD's a way better 3-point shooter than Jordan.
I think Steve Kerr made a comment, and he's like Cage. He's not trying to disrespect Jordan. He's answering a question, and the media ran with it. The media wanted a hot take, and so they said, "Oh, Steve Kerr said he's better than Jordan." That's how it came across, but that's not what it is. He is gifted. He's gifted.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
He just said so. Somebody just said so. So is LeBron a point guard? I mean, no, technically no, but then again, yeah, like he's a hybrid. Like he's a hybrid. He's technically not a point guard. He's masquerading as well. Like he plays point and he brings the ball up like James Harden, but he's not the point guard. Even when they do the starting lineup, LeBron ain't listed as the point guard.
He's not listed. I agree.
Yeah. Yes, sir. But
he can play it. He definitely can play it, though.
We don't know what happened to West.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Kenny Anderson, Rod Strickland, Isaiah Thomas. We said Isaiah. I got Isaiah at number 2 behind Magic.
Yeah.
Kenny Anderson, Rod Strickland.
They were dope. I mean, definitely dope. But you can't put them in like nowhere near no top 5 list. Those two. They were definitely dope, though.
Bob Cousy.
Strickland and Kenny.
What about Bob Cousy? No, I'm joking.
Before my time, man.
Bill Russell. You say Bill. If I say Sinners, you put Bill Russell. That's not before your time.
It's not, but sometimes some accolades ring bells, man, and he didn't have to be in their time.
You remember Bob Cousy running around one hand?
That's all right. I remember that panel battle.
He was killing
around, like, so it ain't ringing up bells for me.
Hey, Kay, I know you know this one because I know I answered the Bob Cousy question. What about him? Because that was the same answer that Sterling Sharp was asked who the best corners were, and he was naming the corners, and they said, "What about Rod Woodson?" He said, "What about him?" He said, "Go to the tape." He said, "Go to the tape," and they showed 3 touchdowns in one game. Sterling Sharp said, "What about him?" And he said, He was like, right, like they had to have it queued up. And then boom, they throw the 3. There was this one game. I think he had 3 touchdowns, had like $170.
As she said, Sterling or Shannon?
Sterling.
Sterling.
Yeah, Sterling. Yeah. They said so because he was like Dion. He named like 2 other people, like Aeneas Williams and Darryl Green. And they said, "What about Rod Woodson?" He said, "What about him?" That's it.
Yo, man. But listen, we got a game. Get ready for this next game.
Yeah, let's get ready. Come on.
Clippers Phoenix, and got more ammunition for next week. And it was a good one. This is Hakeem Green, Uncle Spliffy, West KG, IZM Sports. We see y'all next week. Big shout out to everybody for checking in. Coach Keegan, JT, Renata, everybody. Salute. We out of here. Peace.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
All right.